Welcome to Over 40, Fabulous and Pregnant. I am your host, Jamie Massey, and you're listening to episode 91. If you're looking for pregnancy stories of women over 40, you've come to the right place. And after a very long break of having my baby, I am back. And today on the show, we have Neesha on to share her pregnancy journey at 44. In this episode, she shares her journey to pregnancy, from getting married to enjoying a few years of marriage to challenges of getting pregnant. During this time, Neesha was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis and post-menopause. Yes, that means she talks about not having a cycle for an entire year. So this is a donor egg story. And this story is very special to me. I mean, we did use donor eggs. And I know I shared on Instagram that I was pregnant with twins and lost them, but I haven't shared it here. And I'm really not quite ready to share it because it really just happened. Like, I stopped bleeding yesterday. So it's just very fresh, and I'm still just kind of dealing with my emotions right now. But I will share. I think it might need its own podcast episode, but we'll see about that. So Neesha's story is special to me because we both use donor eggs, and it just reminded me of just how lucky I am to have my rainbow baby. He just turned a year old last month, and it's been such a year. It's been such a year. Also, if you are about to start the donor egg process and need a little bit of help, maybe a little bit of questions about how many eggs do I get? What about donor egg banks? How do I choose a donor? I have a free guide that goes along with this episode. If you want to click the link in the show notes, it's there, but it's also going to be on over40fabulousandpregnant.com/episode 90. And today our listener feedback comes from Brooke. She writes, "Hi Jamie, just wanted to say a huge thank you for creating your Over 40 pregnancy podcast. I have only just found it, and it is amazing. I have only listened to the podcast from Melody and Candace so far, but can't wait to listen to more. Thank you for giving me hope and inspiration and support during the tough fertility journey I am on. I do not have any living children as of yet. I turned 40 a few months ago, had 2 miscarriages from natural conception this year, and now my husband and I are going for some testing and initial consultation with an IVF clinic here in London. Congratulations on having your baby last year. I have also just given you a review for your podcast. Brooke, I am so sorry for your losses. And you know what? You don't have a baby as of yet. That is an amazing attitude. So that's awesome. I hope you are going to an amazing clinic there in London, and I wish you all of the baby dust. And really thank you so much for giving us a review for the show, because it really helps us out. And I also wanted to say thank you, Tanya, for your donation of the podcast. It's too bad you can't send little notes with this, because I would love what y'all kind of have to say and would add to it. Every donation to the show is really paying for cost of things like the website and the podcast hosting services and editing software. So if you get value of this show, I would love if you would consider making a contribution also, even if it is as small as a coffee. And thank you for making this show possible. And one last thing before we get into the show. Yes, I am back. I'm glad to be back. And honestly, through this time, I need it also. But before, I was spending an entire weekend on the show, like 20 hours of just editing and over tweaking the show. And it's too much. It's just too much. So I'm working on trying to streamline the process and get you episodes. And I'm really thinking of doing the show right now every other Monday. So that means there won't be a show next Monday. So just want to give y'all a heads up. I'm still trying to figure out how to get here. And we have another good show coming up. And I think I'm going to start recording shows. I know quite a few of y'all have reached out to me wanting to record, and I'm going to try and get back into scheduling things. And I'm just kind of excited and motivated to just giving y'all stories. I'm really excited about it. So stop talking, Jamie. Let's get into Neesha's story. Neesha, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you so much for having me.
And today, Neesha is sharing her story at 44 with donor eggs. But before we get started, Neesha, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so I'll start. Well, my name is Neesha. I am from Trinidad and Tobago, which is a beautiful island in the Caribbean. Okay, we're known for carnival and amazing cuisine. Right now, I'm 48 years old. But as Jamie said, we started the IVF process at 44.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm 44. My husband is just 1 year older than me.
And tell us, where do you live now? From the Caribbean, where did you move?
Right now, we're located in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, which is a totally different temperature than where I'm from. So that in itself is that in itself is a challenge. But we move. We enjoy life, nevertheless.
Yeah, I love that. And tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to approaching being on the podcast.
Well, okay. So I've always been a very private person because coming from Caribbean culture, we just naturally don't share too many details. We're very private people. It could be because, it's a smaller community. So everybody tends to want to sort of keep stuff, indoors. So I think it's probably about a year ago, or probably before, I stumbled upon your podcast on Instagram. And I was like, well, this is cool. As a matter of fact, I found it even cooler because when I became pregnant, it was actually something I was thinking of starting, a podcast for older mothers. But I never went ahead because I realized, what, I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to really continue it. This may just be a love right now because I just had a baby right now. So I stumbled upon your podcast about a year ago and I was like, ooh, reading all the other ladies' stories, it just resonated with me so much because I was like, ooh, they're sharing their stories. And here I am with my own story just bottled up, I want to share it because being a private person, no one ever knew that, we were going through IVF. So I was like, this may be a good medium to share my story out there. And, I just ran it by my husband and he said, why not? Go right ahead, to be therapy for you. Because after having a baby, if you didn't get therapy before, you're going to need it after.
Yeah.
So it was just something I was like, well, let me contact this person because I just feel like it's something that I should share because as the other lady's stories resonated with me, I was like, probably somebody could listen to my story and it may just, have some commonalities with what they may be going through at the point in time. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I am today speaking to you. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, let's start with having I can't even say it.
Yeah, I can't even spell it. Endometriosis stage 4.
Yes. And
Endometriosis stage 4.
And you went into menopause, which is so unique. So tell us, because you moved to Canada and then you kind of started the IVF process.
No, well, actually, no. We actually did the IVF process in Barbados.
No way.
Barbados has an amazing clinic called Barbados Fertility Clinic. We moved there because so my husband is a digital consultant. So we had a contract there. So we moved there in 2019. I believe it was March 2019. No, I was still based in Montreal, Canada, because at that time I was doing my master's.
Uh-huh.
So I was still based in Canada, but my husband took a consultancy opportunity in Barbados in 2019.
Okay. What about starting off like when you got married and understanding that, and then you didn't have kids for 15 years?
So we got married in January 1st, 2006. So we've been at it a long time. We did not try to conceive the first year, neither the second. I mean, I got married at 29. So
Uh-huh.
as far as I can say, we were young and we did not want kids. I always believe that, in your first couple of years, you should not have children. That's just my belief.
Uh-huh.
Just to enjoy each other. Because, my grandmother always says dating and marriage is two different things. So you still kind of have to date in the marriage. So we got married in January 1st, 2006. And in 2009, I believe we started talking about, it would be a good time now. So I would have been 33, going
Uh-huh.
on 33. It's a good time now. We've been married 3 years. It's a good time now for us to try and add to the family, right? Like to increase the family.
Mhm.
So I didn't know anything. So we started to try, but nothing was happening. We just overlooked it. We were like, doesn't happen that fast anyway. But I knew soon I was approaching the danger zone of being 35, where they call geriatric pregnancies after 35. That's what they say. So
Uh-huh.
I was like, well, probably I should just go and find out, what's going on here. So I think it's the same 2009, I went to the gynecologist in Trinidad, and it's pretty insensitive because he said, okay, so how long have you been trying? So I told him, I said, and then he said, okay, well, they tested my husband. He was fine. So then he said, oh, well, obviously the issue is you because your husband is fine. And it was just as cold as that.
Oh
And then
my
he was like,
gosh.
but didn't you find it wrong? You all have been having, let's say, unprotected sex for all these years and nothing happened. I was like, well, no, I didn't find anything wrong. Then he was like, yeah, something's wrong. So I would suggest I can't even remember what he told me because again, you try to put things in the back of your mind when it's hurtful. So I don't even remember what he told me, but basically he was just like, the problem is mine. There's nothing he can do because my husband is fine. So in 2010, I had moved to the US because again, I was doing another degree. That was my first degree. I wanted to do it in the US. So I went to the US and before I said, you know what? I'm here now. They should have some good, more sensitive gynecologists. So let me go and find one. And I found this amazing Filipino woman and I went to her and she ran all the different tests. And then she told me, she was like, Neesha, you have from what we see, they did a laparoscopy, which is where they go inside, they put like a pin size hole and they do whatever.
Uh-huh.
After the surgery, she told me that I had stage 4 endometriosis, and that's the reason why we were having a problem conceiving. And she asked me, she's like, but have you had painful periods? I was like, yes. And then she was like, so you've lived with this all your life? I was like, yeah, because I just thought it was normal.
Yeah.
And she was like, what about sex? Has it been painful? I said, yes, it's been painful, but I have an understanding partner. So we just work around it some way. Some positions we don't do. She was like, yeah, but this is not normal. This is really not normal. So she started me on some drugs and I don't even remember what it was. But all I know, it made me feel very, like, give me sort of like hot flashes. So I took that for probably 2 months and then I came off. And then she put me on something else. And then all these drugs just basically was just causing me to bleed when I shouldn't. And so eventually I was like, look, you know what? I'm tired of this. And she was really nice. Now, I must say that particular gynecologist, she was an older lady, but
Uh-huh.
she was really nice. Very experienced in her field, I should
Yeah.
say. So I
Now,
remember,
did she say that you had a chance at having kids?
well, to be honest with you, she was also very frank with me because I
Uh-huh.
remember one day sitting in her office because after I had the surgery, I had to go back to emergency because that night like 2 days, I just got a really bad fever. But what they said, it was the medication I was taking, the painkillers, it was too strong for me. So then they just put me on something and I was fine. So after when I went back to her, after the healing period of the surgery, the
Uh-huh.
laparoscopy, and I was able to go back out, you know, start my daily activities, I had a follow-up appointment and I went to her. And I was like, look, doc, could you be honest with me? Like, how many people do you know, like in my situation? Because I would have been, 34 at that time. How many people you know at my age with stage 4 endometriosis who have been successful naturally? And she said, well, in her practice, she's only had one person over the years that has been successful naturally.
Wow.
And I remember that hit me like a ton of bricks,
Yeah.
And sorry, when I came out, I just walked to the car and I was like, damn, and I was like, well, I guess this isn't going to happen for me. Just trying to be positive. And I remember she said, Neesha, you look like a person who can take reality. She was like, have you guys ever thought of adopting? And I was like, well, I've never thought about it. I do know when I met my husband, he always talked about, having natural, but also adopting. He also wanted to have natural, but still adopt. I said, but me personally, no, I've never thought about it. And I don't think it's something that I want to do because I don't think that I'll be able to. I love kids, but I just want to go through the experience of having my own. And that was the last time I went to her because I was basically, there was nothing to do. I had endometriosis. It is what it is. You just have to go through, you know, the emotions of it. So that was the end of that. But as I said, she was a really good gynecologist.
Hmm.
And a couple months after, the problem started to happen again. And she said, you know what, we cannot do another laparoscopy because you're 30 something. She said, yes, I can take the money. Yes, we can do it. You know, you're going to, it's your insurance, you're going to pay the money. Yes, I'm going to get paid, but it's not going to do you any good in the long run. It's not going to help you conceive by having a
Uh-huh.
second laparoscopy. Because endometriosis, it causes a lot of scarring.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, once you have your period, it's just going to have more and more scarring. And that's just the reality. It just happens for some people. She said, you're a very healthy individual. Otherwise, that was just your lot in life, basically. That's what the problem. Some people have cancer, some people have heart attacks. This is just what you have been. So I wrote,
Yeah.
and I mean, she was being real with me, not, and then she said, but a lot of people probably would tell you yes, so they can just keep charging your insurance or billing you. But,
Yeah. Where
uh,
did you go from
uh,
there?
where I went from there, well, I just forgot about it. Then I was just always hoping that, we would have a baby naturally, and it just never happened. And I remember I would be on Facebook seeing other people's stories and talking and seeing everybody around me pregnant. And I was just like, damn, this is just never going to happen. Going
Uh,
to family things at my husband's house and seeing, everybody with kids, but us none. And I'm
yeah.
thinking to myself, most probably people are thinking, oh, they probably can't have, that's why,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was just like, well, you know what? It is what it is. But I just always thought to myself, no, I always saw myself getting married and having one daughter. I always saw myself having not a bunch of children, but one daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the type of person, if I believe something is for me, I'm going to go after it. It doesn't matter how old I am, I'm going to go after it. So that was 2010. 2011 happened. 2012 happened. 2013, I had moved back to Trinidad. And the Barbados Fertility Clinic, they were based there. They had an office in Trinidad. And again, I saw it on social media. And I was like, I'm just going to call them. This time I was 37. So I was like, I'm getting older, but. And I called and they said, well, the first thing they have to do is run all the blood tests, run all the blood work. They ran all the blood work. And then they called me on the phone and they said, your blood work is that of a post-menopausal person, your reproductive levels.
Wow.
So I was like, and then I was like, okay, well, and then she was like, that was a nurse. She said, we can get you in for an appointment with the fertility specialist, a virtual appointment, and she can take it from there.
Uh-huh.
So I remember in the first call with the fertility specialist, my husband asked her, look, we're upfront people. Tell me what's the chance of my wife having a child? And then she was like, about 10% naturally, you know? So we were like, my husband was like, well, I'm not going to spend money for something that's a 10% chance.
Uh-huh.
And
Well,
at
I'm
that time,
surprised about that if you're post-menopause, you still have a chance at getting pregnant too.
well, that if you're you still have a chance. Your only chance of postmenopause of getting pregnant is if you have donor eggs. If he
Okay.
used donor eggs. If he used donor eggs. Yeah, because I was like,
Okay.
yeah, I thought it was done for me too until I spoke to them. And during that, when my husband was talking to the fertility specialist, because she realized she was talking to a man. So she was very upfront and she said, your wife's chances are 10%, but there's another option. Donor eggs. She's very healthy. She has no complications.
Mhm.
We feel very certain the donor eggs will work for her because I had no complications. It was just my reproductive levels, my FSA, my FHS or whatever, and they were all low. Like from
Uh-huh.
a long time, they were just low. Now, I don't know what we don't, I guess, well, my gynecologist said the endometriosis basically was, had
The
everything to do
catalyst.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
How did
and
you feel
that's
about donor eggs when she mentioned it?
when she first mentioned it, I didn't really know anything about it because that was in 2013. So I was like, what? And I started to read up about it. I was like, so this is possible? Like, how's that going to happen? And I was like, and then my husband was like, well, we have a saying we use in the Caribbean, the ball is in your court. So he basically said the ball is in your court. If you think that you can deal with using another person's eggs and being okay,
Mhm.
because he said he's okay with it, because he's practical, he realized it's not going to happen naturally. We're not going to spend money to try it naturally with a 10% chance,
Sure.
you know? He was like, so you think about it. So I thought about it and I was like, no, I don't feel good about this. I can't do that. This was in 2013. So 2014 went by, 2015 went by, and I remember 2014, I would have been, how old would I have been? I would have been 38. And I remember I went to the bathroom one day and no, it was before my period didn't come. My period, like from 37, my period just started to give trouble and it wouldn't come. So like every time it didn't come and it was weird, I would buy a pregnancy test thinking
Yeah.
I was pregnant. And I'd be like, yes, I feel different now. I think I'm pregnant. And every one of those tests, it would be nothing,
Ugh.
faint. And I know my husband wanted to be, I know deep down he was like thinking it wasn't going to happen, but he was just trying to be excited with me. And I remember looking up in the bathroom one day and saying, like, why, Lord, why wouldn't it happen for me? Like, like, why can I not have a child? Like, like, seriously. And then I was like, well, I'm 38 now. This is 2014. I'm going to be 40 in 2016. So this isn't going to happen. And in that particular year, I went to another gynecologist because my period just wouldn't come. And I went to him and he's like, well, from what he's seen, everything looks okay. He sent me for some tests. I said, well, I'm considering IVF. He said, before you consider IVF, I think that you could do this naturally. I was like, doctor, don't tell me something that I need to hear because I've been trying this. He said, but the IVF clinic is going to tell you that because they want your money. He says, I'm thinking, it could happen. I was like, well, I'm almost 40. I don't have time for this, for Jesus said we've been having unprotected sex since we've been married and nothing has happened. So, he said, well, it could be stress as a factor. I said, but all these are could be's, and you really
Right.
need before 40, because 40 is like you feel see it as the danger zone, you know? So my run right after him. And I went to him like 2 days after my period came. So I was like, okay, definitely not pregnant. And from that particular 2014, I've just been having periods that would just come very often. Like
Uh-huh.
it will finish like in February. And then before the 21 or 28 days, I'll have another bleed. So I'm like, what's going on?
Uh-huh.
Nobody thought to tell me at that time that I was already in perimenopause. No one thought to tell me
Uh,
that. Now, I'm going to be honest, because we moved so much, I was changing gynecologists a lot,
uh-huh.
right? So nobody really had a history of me, right? They were
Yeah.
just like, okay, well, you're only 30 something. You can't be going through peri. I mean, because I'm slim. My BMI is fine. Everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
My health is amazing. So nobody connected it. Now, mind you, I was beginning to feel hot flashes since then, but I thought I was living in the Caribbean, so I was hot.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything about that. 2018, we were back in the Caribbean. I went back on holiday, and I remember I was watching. It was that show with Guzman. It was at Narcos. My husband and I were binge watching. This was in 2018. No, sorry. Yes, early 2018. I believe it's in March because I moved now to Montreal in 2017 January. And my periods, as I said, they were just all over the place. They won't come in. When they come, sometimes they would just have like 10-day spaces.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was the move from one country to the other. Because, Canada, they talk about the barometric pressure. So I thought probably that was having something to do. So I went to the gynecologist and she was like, well, you're too young for anything. So she gave me the, the pill that would start back my period. I don't remember the name of it. Yeah, my period did come after she gave me the drug because I was going on I was going on a holiday. So I kind of wanted the period to come now. So at least when I'm out, it wouldn't come. She tested the levels there and then she said, these levels are a bit low, but she said, there's no way you could be perimenopause. You're still too young. That's what everybody's saying. So she just started me back in 2018. I realized, again, I was having this problem from 2014 to 2018 with this period, and then it's just bleeds that are not supposed to happen, and then it just stops no period. So in 2018, because she had done some tests, her office calls me and they tell me she put her receptionist to call, and the office says to me, "Oh, don't take those pills that we gave you to start your period because doctor said that you're in it seems like you're in menopause from the levels." I'm like, "What?" So I'm like, "What, I'm menopausal?" I'm like, and then she said, "Yeah, so don't take the pills that she gave you to start your period because your levels show that you're in post. You're in
Oh my God.
No, I'm confused because I'm like, what? I'm like, now I'm 42. So now after she told me that would have been in May. In August, I went back to Trinidad and I'm binge watching a series of Narcos with my husband. And I just feel this gush of blood come down. I'm like, but wait, I thought I'm supposed to be menopausal and no longer period. I go to the bathroom. I'm like, my period came pretty heavy. It came for like 7 days straight, pretty heavy. So I'm like, good. I'm back in the game. I have a period.
Uh-huh.
After that, months, no period, no period, no period. So I know they said 1 year, and that means without a period, that means you're officially over menopause. So from 2018 to 2019, I had no period for that whole year. So
Oh
because I was marking the
no.
dates. So when I got
Yeah.
to the date, like in May, I'm like, okay, so now I'm post-menopause is done, I'm post-menopausal. So 2019 was when we moved to Barbados because my husband had gotten a consultancy over there for digital, because he's a digital consultant.
Uh-huh.
And he said to me, he's like, well, babe, we're going to Barbados. There seems to be a big fertility clinic there. Probably that's a sign. We could probably go back and talk to them and see what happens. I'm like, they say, but I'm 43 now. I'm old. I mean, is it going to work? He's like, but let's just go because your health is really good otherwise. So we went. I made the appointment. I sent an email, and right away they responded like in an hour saying, yes, when are you guys flying? Okay, we can do this appointment. I gave her my history as like, I did deal with you guys a few years before via phone, but I decided not to go through with it because I just felt at that time, come on, I'm still young because that was 2013. So I would have been, 36, 37, and you guys were telling me that there was a 10% chance. I didn't believe that. Here I am at 43 in post-menopause, so I'm at your mercy, basically. So I went into the office and she said, okay, I see this file. Yeah, you have contacted us since 2013. I say, yeah, I'm older now. Like, is there anything can be done for me? Because she said, well, what we'll do, yes, we test your husband. We run your levels again and see. So we know. She said, if I can tell you already, most probably it's going to be the donor egg option. Right? And she says their clinic work with people up to 49 years old. So I was 43. So I still had a good time before. I said, okay. So we walked out of the office with all the information. And my husband said, so we're going through with it. I was like, I think so. I was like, but suppose it doesn't happen. Suppose we spend all this money and it doesn't happen. He's like, you can't think like that. If it doesn't happen, we try again. However, you see 2019, so we're building up to the pandemic.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so 2019, when they whoever sent me the stuff from the office sent me information that to me it was wrong. And at that time, we were just enjoying Barbados because we had just gotten there. So when I saw the information, I was like, well, this is not what they quoted when I went. I wanted to send the wrong file because they sent me figures that could double what it was supposed to be for the cost.
Uh-huh.
I was like, well, this is not what they told me in the meeting. And then I contacted the same person who sent me the email. They never responded about the cost. So I just put it to rest. I was like, probably this is not supposed to happen. And in December 2019, I remember that we were on the beach for the fireworks for New Year's Eve. And I remember seeing all the families and I was like, this is the last year I am going to be not without a child. This is the last year. I was like, I'm going to write those people tomorrow. I'm going to tell them, excuse me, you didn't answer my email. Can you let me know what is it? And my husband said, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Enough, go right ahead. But he's waiting for me because at the end of the day, it's me, right?
Yeah. I love
My
your
God.
husband, by the way. He is like so supportive.
Oh my God. Super, super, super supportive. Super
Yeah.
supportive because it's been going on for years. Super supportive.
Yeah.
So 2020, we started. But right as we started back with the fertility clinic engagement, but talking,
Uh-huh.
the pandemic happened.
Shut everything
And
down.
I had a major death in my family that was so unexpected by the COVID-19. So that just threw me down. But somehow that made me think because I was like, that person was so special to me and she was such a lover of kids. I was like, you know what? Probably this is a sign. Our family lost one. When one lost, we need another one to come back in. That's how I thought. Like one is gone. So probably that's his way of telling us that the family is decreasing, but we still, we need to add more to it.
Yeah.
And it was my aunt. My aunt, she was always supportive of me. Like anything she would understand. So when it happened, I just told my husband, I was like, you know what? We're going to try. We're going to try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you don't know until we try.
That's
So
right.
he's like, yeah, let's just try. He's like, and don't think about it not working. If it doesn't work, he said, because if you never try, then you're always going to regret it.
Uh-huh.
So I contacted the office. They ran audits and they started arranging everything to have my husband's sperm tested again, to have all my blood work done. They did all that. His sperm came back super fine. My levels, of course, just got lower and lower from the last time it was. So they said, okay, so now it's definitely going to be donor. And there the process for the donor selection starts, we were sent, the list of the donors and their characteristics.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Where were these donors located?
These donors are located in different parts of the Caribbean. Trinidad,
Okay.
Barbados, different parts of the Caribbean. So
what was important to you finding a donor?
What was important to me finding a donor was that the person would share some sort of shape of face or something to look like me, or even my sister, or even just somebody in my family.
Yeah.
So at least even if she didn't look like me, you could say, well, okay, she kind of looks like your cousin or somebody. So at least there's some connection will be in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sent pictures of the donors. And I remember the few we sent, I was like, I don't like any of these. Yeah, they may be pretty or whatever, but I don't like any of these.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also read their bios, and some bios just it didn't hit me. So I was like, I don't see anybody. We're gonna have to wait. I don't see anybody. So every time they got something that they think would be a match, they would send to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent one. I don't remember what one they sent her. And I was like, my husband and I were sitting and we were like, well, she sounds like you. She sounds like my husband. She likes to be alone. She's not a very much people person. And I was like, I think I like that. And then my husband said, a shape of face sort of looks like your sister. So I think that, and your cousin. So that could be a good person. And I looked at her eyes and something about her eyes grabbed me. Because I looked at people, I look at people's eyes very much. And I kind of liked what I saw. She wasn't there wasn't much makeup and stuff like that. It was just a very natural girl. And I like that. And I was like, you know what? We're choosing her. My husband agreed. And he was like, so this is it? Are we going to do it? I was like, I guess. And well, the fertility clinic, they put you onto a psychologist who goes through the different things with you. We did that consult with that psychologist. She basically told us what it did. It was a really good session. It was a really good session, and then she's like, just told us like, things that we'd have to do when the baby reaches a certain age to explain to her, that's what it says, stories that we could read to her to let her know as she grows. And after that session, I just feel really good. I was like, wow, she was really good at what she does, because it just felt like the right decision after.
Yeah.
And that would have been in December, probably December 2020, because it's a long process, huh?
Yes.
It's a long process. That would have been December 2020.
Now, will you tell us if you bought frozen eggs or did you do a fresh egg retrieval? Okay.
fresh egg retrieval because I was doing my research and to me, I just figured for me, that would have been better because I was located there in that particular country. It also worked that way that
Okay.
it could be fresh. The donor was fairly young. I believe she was 30, about 30. So that worked. We don't want somebody who was too young, but yes, so we kind of like that age.
Uh-huh.
The person already had two kids as far as we knew. So we are like, okay, a body would be successful at this.
Yeah.
So we chose that particular person. That was about December 20. So I went on a holiday. No, that was in November. I went on a holiday in November and we were communicating with the fertility clinic via email. And then she told me, okay, so the process will be started, I think, in February 2021. But in January 2021, she called me on the 5th and she said, you have to come in tomorrow because apparently your donor made a mistake and she took the drugs when she wasn't supposed. So we have to get this process started now.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
what? So I was like, is she? I was like, is she dumb? I mean, like, I gotta reconsider this. And my husband was like, look, it is what it is. It's just, he's like, everybody's dumb now. So he's like, just, let's just start it. And I remember walking into the fertility clinic when they showed me how many shots I had to take. I was like, what? Because somehow, I didn't think about this whole process. I was like, can I pull out now? Like, can I not do this now? And then she was explaining it to me and she was like, so one has to go in your butt, one has to go here every night, one has to go here every night, one has to go up your vagina. I'm like, what the heck did I get myself into?
And
And
did you have to do more because of being in menopause, probably?
well, yes, I had to go because in January when I started, I had to take at least probably 7 estrogen pills per day.
Ooh.
7 because they were all labeled. Yeah, I remember. And I was going through these boxes of estrogen pills like nobody's business, like just
Yeah.
going for refills. So I had to do a lot. Yes, I had to do
Yeah.
a lot. But I was used to the estrogen pills because I was taking it before because I had started HRT in 2020. I had started,
Okay.
so I was already used to taking estrogen, just not so much. Just not so much. So I was like, wow, 7 pills a day?
Whoa.
So it was 7 pills a day. It was the progesterone in my butt. It was the estrogen up my vagina, the other shots on my stomach. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. But we did it and we stuck. If they said to do it 6 and 8, we did it 6 and 8 every single day for 3 months.
Mhm.
And I think, honestly, my husband said he thinks that had to do with the success because because my husband is a very strategic person. So if you say to do something at 6, he doesn't do it at 6:01. He does it at 6. I couldn't give myself the shots because when I saw it, I was like, oh, hell no. And then they told me I'm going to get bruised. I was like, hell no. And I was like, so is it ever going to disappear? And she says, well, I'm not sure. I'm like, what? So I'm going to have all these bruise marks? And I was like, But I was like, you know what? I signed up for it. We want we want a baby. 3 months. And my husband said, come on, it's going to go by. 3 months is going to go by quickly. So let's just suck it up and let's do it. And he gave me my shots every single day.
Oh, how
6
great.
6 for the stomach, 6 p.m. for the stomach, 8 p.m. and the one in the butt.
Wow.
The one in the butt really hurt because that was like
Yes.
oil. I was like, so
Yes.
that really, really hurt. And it bled the first time. But we did it. And I remember after we were finished doing it, that day we went out to dinner at 6 o'clock because he was like, no more shots. No more shots. We could go out. Yeah.
And so for her egg retrieval, do you remember like her numbers, how many eggs was
Yes.
retrieved?
Well, yes, I have to look back at the email, but we shared the eggs with another couple because that's also,
Oh.
we decided to share the eggs with another couple because we said, you know what? I'm already 40 something. It's hardly likely I'm going to go try again.
Uh-huh.
I'm not in my,
Yeah.
so like we could share. And also because too, as well, the difference in cost between not sharing and sharing was a huge difference. So
Yeah.
we were like, let's just share. So we shared it with I believe 2 other couples we shared it with. Yeah. This is from the lab, whatever those people in the lab are called. I would like to inform you that 5 out of the 8 OOCYT, yes, I always forget how to pronounce that name, were mature and were injected yesterday. Today we checked them and 4 out of the 5 have fertilized. I will inform you tomorrow about the quality of the embryos and when we are going to do the transfer. So my husband wrote back, just curious, is this output a normal occurrence? Meaning not all the oocytes were mature and one was not fertilized? Because we were confused. So she writes back regarding Neesha. Thank you for your response regarding your question about maturity. It happens sometimes that not all the oocytes are mature at the egg collection. The sperm was fine, and it is not the reason that they were not fertilized. It was the quality of the oocytes itself. Besides, the fertilization rate generally is 85% overall. So she writes back to tell me after a couple of days, I would like to inform you that all 4 have started to divide. I will check them again tomorrow and I will send you an update. Since all of them continue developing, the plan is to do the transfer on day 5 of the embryo development. They write back to tell me my transfer is at 1 p.m. on Tuesday and I have to be here at 12:30 p.m. I was just so interested in, am I pregnant?
Yes.
Like, I would like to inform you that I was able to freeze 2 embryos. So that's for the storage freeze. So they put 2 in me and they froze 2 if I wanted to go,
Yeah.
which
So
we destroyed last year, January. We destroyed it. Yeah.
Okay. How was your transfer?
My transfer, well, I was emotional because I was thinking about my aunt on that day because she would have been here. She would have been the voice telling me, be positive. So I cried at the transfer. But after the transfer, it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was a pretty quick process. And then I went home and they told me not to take it light, and don't do too much. It was a Tuesday. It was Tuesday in January. It was Tuesday, the 25th of January, the transfer, the 26th of January, Tuesday, the 26th of January, 2021. My transfer was done. They put in 2. And they said because, sometimes that's the bet. That's how they do it at their clinic. And I was like, sure. My husband was hoping for twins. Silently, I was just like, I didn't know what I was hoping for. I just wanted to be pregnant and everything to go well.
Yeah.
So I remember they called me because when I went home, go ahead.
How was your 2-week waiting for it?
Well, I'm going to tell you during that 2-week wait, the first day when I went home after the transfer, I decided my husband and I went for a run and I went to walk. I just did a walk with him because I wanted to stay active and just be normal. I was doing normal stuff. And he was like, just not talk about it. Let's just act normal. Just act like nothing happened. Let's just act normal. Don't think too hard because I can get stressed out. So he's like, just walk, just act normal. I sat down. I just did everything I accustomed doing. I remember on the Sunday, because I transferred on the 26th of January. So on that Sunday, that would have been what? The 30th? Count it. I can't remember. On the Sunday, I went to the bathroom. And when I went to the bathroom to pee, I knew I was pregnant. Because in my 40-something years, yes, I've been nauseous before, but I know how a nauseous non-pregnancy feels. That nauseous feeling that I got, I was like, babe, I'm pregnant. I could feel it. It was the first time I ever felt that way in my life. And I remember just crying because I was like, I'm pregnant. I know it. I don't even have to wait to test. I know it. So on the 8th of February was when I was to test because I remember that as well because that's my brother's birthday. I could not sleep the night of the 7th. Because I'm an international student recruiter. And I remember all I kept thinking about was that night. Because the weekend before I had done a presentation for scholarships in Sweden for international students to study in Sweden. And I remember that night because I have to test on the 8th. So the 7th, I remember just dreaming like just stupid stuff. Like seeing the Swedish flag and then just I'm like, what the heck? I couldn't sleep. So 5 o'clock that morning on the 8th of February, we had the test. My husband bought 3 tests. 5 o'clock, I was like, babe, it's time to test. 5 o'clock in the morning, it's time to test. Went to the bathroom, did my pee, because I said I can't look. So I said, you look at it, because I can't look. Because I just can't look. And then I remember he said, when you peed in that stick and you walked to that bathroom, that thing took no time at all before it showed positive. It was that quick. And then I remember he telling me, babes, babe, I think your aunt is looking down on us. And I was like, is it? And then he was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God, I have waited to see this for my entire life. I have waited to see this. And I was pregnant on the 8th of February. The fertility clinic called me around 9 o'clock that morning because they said they would call to find out if. And I remember they called and she was like, my husband picked up my phone and he was like, babe, they're calling. You talk to them. And then she said, hi, Neesha. And then she was like, I was like, I'm pregnant. And she sounded so happy, but at the same time, she sounded shocked because it was the first try.
Uh-huh.
You know, I could hear the shock, but I could sense it. And then she's like, okay, so let's book you. She's like, congrats. Let's book you in for your appointment one time. And she said, can you come in tomorrow? And I was like, of course, I'm not doing anything else. I can come in tomorrow. I remember when I went in, she was just like, congratulations. And they just started me one time on, the things that I have to do. And some things are a blur right now because, again, it was just such a happy time.
Yeah.
And while we were there, I remember this other couple came in and they were far along. I think they had probably made their 3-month mark already.
Mm-hmm.
They found out the gender at the time. And the guy told my husband, he just came out happy and he was like, oh, you're here? And he's like, yeah, my wife just found out she's pregnant. He was like, we just found out we are having a girl. And they were just like, oh man, I'm so happy for you. He's like, well, man, I'm so happy for you. And they were both like, I'm so happy for each other. And I remember going in the office and then she's like, congrats. And I was like, just looking like with a serious, I was like, this was words I never expected to hear. She was like, so you're pregnant now and everything is going to go okay. She was like, but after 3 months, you leave us and then you go off to your personal gynecologist.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was telling me, like, I'll have to have a scan now. I'll have to have a scan at different times just to check to make sure everything is going, she said. And they started to check my blood pressure to make sure because I've never had an issue. And she was like, so this is pretty much how it's going to look from now on until you deliver your baby. You're going to have a lot of checks. You're going to have a lot of blood pressure checks. She said, just because, you're over 42, they just need to make sure that everything is okay. And yeah, from that time, I was in a pregnant club. I had joined that club.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what it feels like. Wow.
Yeah. How was your pregnancy? Tell us about it.
Jamie, my pregnancy was amazing. I had 0 issues.
Uh-huh.
I had 0 issues pregnant. Because I was like, what are they talking about? I mean, you could be 40 and pregnant. That's foolishness. I'm fine. Because I was like, they're just trying to make you think you can't get pregnant at 40. And I would tell any woman, we're healthy. Once you're healthy, I mean, I was healthy. And I spoke to people who were younger and they were like, we had all these difficulties. Perfect pregnancy, perfect blood pressure, no issues.
Wow, how great.
No issues. Now we talk about after pregnancy. Are you ready for that? That was what happened. It's like it was waiting to say, okay, you think this was amazing? I'll show you something after. But amazing my only issue that I had with pregnancy was there was a spitting condition that I had that I would just keep spitting. Like I would need something to keep spitting because I was like, what the heck is this? Like, why am I spitting? Like in my sleep, I'm spitting. And that was just so gross to me. So, because I had to walk with like a cup or something to kind of like, and like sometimes like certain things I would eat would just like make it worse.
Yeah.
But other than that, I had no other problems. And I was so happy to be in Barbados because I would give that country props. That country was able to really make me have a good pregnancy.
Yeah.
Because my doctor there, she actually said, no, you know what? We could stop that spitting. And I don't remember what drug she prescribed, but that knocked that out of the park. And I was good to go. No spitting, no acid reflux after. Because everybody, when I go online, everybody was saying, oh, you have to endure it for 9 months. And I was like, so I'm going to be spitting everywhere? You'll be talking to me and I'll be like, excuse me. Like, it just kept coming up, like bubbling and just coming up. But whatever she gave me, I was like 3.5 months when she gave it to me. I was fine.
Wow.
I was fine.
That's so great.
I know. And it's like, I tell everybody about that doctor. I said, if ever you go to Barbados, please check her out because she helped me with my spitting when everybody said, oh, it's a normal part of pregnancy. It's just something you have for 9 months. I was like, yes, but how can I? So you're in a meeting and you're like, it was gross and it was uncomfortable as well.
Yeah. Well, tell us, how did you find your doctor?
My gynecologist in Barbados, I liked her. I really, really, I enjoyed her. She was experienced. She did not make me feel like my age was an issue. She did not make me feel like that at all. She was like, she told me, but okay, it's important that you go to Lamar's classes because even though we're more mature, we've never had a baby before. So we need to, have this in order. She never mentioned anything about age. And then she's always said, every time you come for your check, you're healthy, you're fine. It's just with these precautions that we need to take. However, because as we're travelers, my country's borders were closed off at that time in 2021. And that's where we wanted to go to have our baby, where we were from. But our borders were closed for 17 months and they refused to open it. So we decided, you know what? We don't want to have the baby in Barbados, even though we have a good doctor. We prefer to have the baby where we at least have some family.
Yeah.
So we could not go back to our country. So we had to choose the United States because my family was in the United States. Some of my family, close family was there.
And you're thinking of like citizenship of the baby, right?
At the point in time, yes, I will be very honest with you because passport privilege is real.
Yeah.
We went to school in the United States and we know.
Yeah.
My friend, my husband's close friend, was a top gynecologist as well in Maryland. So we were like, we spoke to him and he's like, it's a good decision. He's like, because Trinidad borders are closed off. I don't really want to have in Barbados because it's just us here. We don't have any family here. If anything, I don't want to say if anything goes wrong, but
yeah,
let's be close to it. So we decided on the US because my husband's friend is there. He's the gynecologist. So he delivered our baby basically. So from 27 weeks, we went there and he took over your care from my God. I was in good hands because it's my husband's college friend and, so it was a lot of fun. And a lot of people were like, wait, so you're going to let your husband's college friend see you?
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Well, everybody's married now. Come on, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I didn't regret it because I had good care. I knew my doctor personally. I felt really good knowing he was the one coming in to do my delivery. So I felt confident. I didn't have anything to worry about. That's how I felt.
That's really neat.
Yeah, I was in good care. I mean, the doctor is your friend. The gynecologist is your friend. So,
yeah. Did you find out the sex with the embryos or did you find out during pregnancy?
I found out with pregnancy. I found out that would have been, when did I find out? I believe around May would have been when I found out I was having a girl. Yes, it would have been around May when I found out I was having a girl. I remember she told me because she's like, so are you ready to find out the sex today? I was like, yeah, definitely. And I remember she said, from all accounts, it looks, I think she said she could have just been off by 10%. She said, but I've been doing this for years. So it looks like it's a girl.
And that's exactly what you thought you were going to have.
And that's exactly what I thought. So when I came out of the office and I went into the car, I told my husband, I was like, you're going to be a what is it called?
A girl dad?
A girl dad. You're going to be a girl dad. Because I always wanted a girl. No, I have nothing against boys, but I just always saw myself with a girl. And then she was, I remember when she told me that, she was like, because she had another call, because she's also the gynecologist on the main hospital. So while she's just, give me 1 second. Then she came back and she's like, yes, I'm very sure it's a girl. So congratulations. And then how they do it there is they give you pink or blue folders. I was like, no, give me a yellow folder. I'm not walking out of this office with anyone knowing the sex of my baby. Just give me a yellow folder. She was like, okay, we have those on standby. You take a yellow folder. So I remember coming out of the office and everybody's looking at me like, what she's having,
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys keep wondering. You guys keep wondering. Yeah, and I found out in about May that I was having a girl and we were just over the moon. And I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. We're getting, and my next thing now was just, Lord, just please help her to be healthy. Just help her to be healthy.
Yeah.
Just help her to be healthy. I mean, I will accept anything that you give to me, but just help her to, just because, it would just be a little easier for us if And I was like, you know what? And I always heard my aunt telling me, like, talking from everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. And that pregnancy was such a smooth pregnancy. I only had positive thoughts. Being in Barbados was so good because I was relaxed. So the beginning of the pregnancy, I think, was really good for me because I was in a resort. I was basically living in a resort.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's how I was able to also have a good
Yeah.
pregnancy because I was living the resort life, so nothing troubled me. Nothing
Yeah.
troubled me at all. I'll go to the pool. I was doing my swimming classes and everything.
Oh,
And,
that sounds
so
amazing.
yeah, it is because actually the first time my baby kicked was my swimming class when the water was very cold. And I felt her go, kick. And I was like, wow, this is the first kick. Because I remember asking my gynecologist, how did kicks feel? She said, I can't describe it, but when you feel it, you'll know it. And I remember feeling that first kick at my swimming lesson when that day the water was very cold. And I remember just because I had on a bikini, and I remember just feeling, and I was like, oh my God. I told my husband, I was like, I felt a kick during the swimming class. And I was like, oh, that is so amazing. So I know she's alive and well. Because, yeah, I was doing, with her, I was swimming. Like I was doing my swimming classes every Saturday morning.
Uh-huh.
Just trying to stay fit. So it was a beautiful pregnancy. It was a
Yeah.
beautiful pregnancy.
Now, was there any products that helped you during pregnancy that you could recommend?
What I will tell people, Joab, they told me to take prenatal, which I did like everybody else.
Yeah.
What helped me, I genuinely believe, is my mind. I was able to because I was in Barbados with my husband and just staying away from anything that I think will irritate me or anybody that will irritate me, I was able to just be in a Zen position. Just Zen, like I would just lie down on the sofa. It was a sort of resort we lived in. So just look out and see the golf course and just see trees and greenery. So me being in that Zen space of mind, I was always able to remain calm. I didn't speak to anyone who I think would have caused my blood pressure to go up.
Uh-huh.
So I made a conscious decision to stay away from anything or anybody that I thought that added stress to my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we love our family, but sometimes our family members can add stress to our lives.
Yeah.
So honestly, I know my mom, God bless her heart, she's from the older school, so sometimes they really don't know how to be supportive, and they say things sometimes that could upset you.
Mm-hmm.
I know she had an issue with me being pregnant over 40. That was already a concern for her, being a mother in my 40s having a baby, because she thought that was risky. And so I just tried to keep my contact with her to a minimum during my period, because I was like, I don't need anybody telling me anything that's going to make me feel like, this pregnancy is not going to work.
Yeah.
So because I know she could not give that kind of support because of her personality, I made a conscious decision to just limit. And also being in another country helped that because we didn't need to see each other, right?
Right.
So I would limit calls, I would limit contact because it was for my baby and my mental health. And that I believe helped me. And that's something I should still try to do today because it really worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I would advise anybody who's pregnant, please make sure your space, whatever upsets you, keep it away because it's going to add to your stress level.
Yeah.
I think that is how I was able to have a healthy pregnancy and not have any complications. I didn't entertain any videos with anybody talking about anything that was difficult either. Like if I pull up a video and somebody spoke about a difficult pregnancy or difficult delivery, I will not listen because I know it will affect me.
Sure.
So even the news, I wasn't listening. I was like, I don't really want to hear anything else about COVID. I already read it.
Well, what about preparing? Because this is your first baby. How did you prepare for her?
Well, by shopping. But I made my list. I talked to my sister because she had 2 kids. Like, and they were big girls. They were young women now because she had kids young. I talked to her, and we went through a list of all the things that I need. I watched some influencers to see what they were buying for their kids, to see what I needed, and we went shopping, went to Target, went different places, got all the things that I thought that I needed. But then as she told me, you're not going to get everything that you need because only when the baby's born, then you're going to see something that you didn't get that you need.
Yep.
About probably 3 weeks before I started getting the baby's bag ready, the nesting never kicked in for me. That never really, that nesting thing they talked about never kicked in for me. I was so active. I was just out and about. I was normal. So for me, it was just like, I think I only started to pack when we went to the movies. I believe it was the 21st of September because I had her on the 10th of October. I was due on the 14th. And I went to the movies on the 21st of September. And it was so strange. When I went to the bathroom, I kind of felt like my bowel movement, like poop. I don't like, and I was like, why do I have a black stain like poop on my underwear? This is weird. Because this never happened.
It's blood, right?
I don't know. To me, it was black like poop because it was from the back.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what's going on? I was like, this is gross. What's happening here? Because we went to the movies with my husband and his niece. So I told my husband, I was like, babe, I think it's time to pack the bag because to me, something strange happened. I went to the bathroom because, I was on iron pills because I was low on iron. So I was like, but why did that happen though? I don't have control of my bowels. That's weird. So then when I told my sister, she was like, that could be a sign that your bowels are starting to get a little weaker because she's pushing down. So she was like, make sure that your bag is packed, so in case anything, you're ready. So I just packed the bag on that day. I was like, because I feel fine. I just don't understand why that happened. Said for 2 days. And then I told my doctor, and then he said, just keep the bag packed. My checks were every Thursday. So I had a check coming up on the Thursday. And when I went to her, they said, I told her that. She was like, well, everything looks fine. It doesn't seem like anything. She was like, but let's just keep monitoring it. Anything, call the emergency line. So you go right to the hospital. She's like, don't even come to the office. Just go straight to the hospital. She said, because, just because you're over 40, the doctor is trying to make sure, because I was talking to the person who does the ultrasound. He was like, just because you're over 40, they call it advanced maternal age, just go straight to the hospital. Doctor doesn't even want to wait until you're 40 weeks. He wants to do it at 39. Because my aunt's birthday was on the 20th of October. So I was hoping that that's the day that I would deliver. Because they had me for the 14th. Yeah, they had me for the 14th. And as the fertility clinic, when they first gave me the letter to take off to the gynecologist, they had put date of delivery the 21st of October. But when I went to my gynecologist, she said, this isn't adding up. This is a mistake. According to what I'm seeing here, if you can see, you're the 14th, not the 27th. So she called them and then they realized it was some sort of error and it was the 14th. So I was like, shit, I wanted it to be
Bummer.
the 14th.
Yeah.
But my doctor, my new gynecologist, my husband's friend who took over my case, he was like, I know you want it to be that day because for auntie and whatnot. He was like, but because of your age, most probably at 39 weeks, he's going to go look into. So I was like, oh man, I was like, but I'm good. But so on that 21st, I started to pack my bag because from what I saw, the week, because I went into the hospital, I believe on the 7th of October, because my husband's birthday is on the 5th. So he was hoping she would be born on his birthday. My friend was hoping she'd be born on the 3rd of October, but I was hoping it would be on my aunt's birthday. My friend called me and I called my friend on the 3rd. She was like, is the baby? I was like, no, I called to wish you happy birthday. She was like, God, I was hoping the baby girl would be born on my day. Then she was like, okay, it's okay. I understand auntie's special. We hold out for auntie. And then my husband was like, okay, I'm hoping it happened today. But since the 5th, which is my husband's birthday of October, I wasn't feeling any kicks. But I was quiet about it. I was like, this is weird. Why am I not feeling any kicks? So on the 6th, I still wasn't feeling any kicks, but I was quiet about it. I was like, so I went on YouTube to look at some videos to see if anybody was talking about it. So on the 7th, I woke up. I was like, babe, you know what? I didn't want to say anything, but since your birthday, I'm not really feeling much activity. Then he was like, he did that. He was like, let's call doctor, his friend. I don't want to say the name right away. So I called he's like, come to the office right away. And then he's like, I'm telling you already, we're taking you into the hospital, but come. I was like, oh man. I was like, but I'm sure I'm fine. Then he was like, so I went there. And when I went to the appointment, then she starts kicking. So then he's like, you're not going back home. You're going across to the hospital. You're not going back home. He's like, because you're over 40 and we just need to be sure. He's like, because I don't want anything to happen. He said, I know you have a date in mind, but we need to be sure. He's like, so let your husband bring across your bags, but you're going across there. Because his office was right onto the hospital. So he's like, you're going across there. I'm like, today? I was like, but I'm not ready. Then he's like, well, it's not really it's about, And I was like, So when I was going into the hospital, they didn't even think that I was coming to the hospital because they were like, you don't even look like you. Because everybody else was walking and crying. And I was just there and I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, you? I was like, yeah, I'm 39 weeks. And then she's like, okay, oh, you didn't look it. So I'm walking in and I'm like, this is it? And then the doors open and it says advanced age with department section of the ward. So I was like, oh shit, yeah. So I'm old. Okay, remind me. And then they gave me the robe and then they put me into the room and, they started talking to me and then they were telling me what they're going to do and stuff like that because they're going to start. Again, all this is a blur because everything just went so fast. They were going to start, they said, in like Pitocin, like giving me to dilate the cervix. They said they were going to start that process. Pitocin. So I was like, okay. And then they were like, well, it looks like, okay, like tomorrow night you should be able to deliver. But I just never, my cervix just never went higher than 1. It just stayed at 1.
Oh, wow. How long did you try?
Well, I went in on the 7th and they were trying from since the 7th. On the 10th, they took me in to do a C-section on the 10th of October. Because they said it doesn't look like anything is happening. Nothing was, because I wasn't ready. That's what I said, because she wasn't ready. Because you took me in before, says nothing is happening because she's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
If you waited until 40 weeks, she would have been ready. But he said, I understand, but we got to do what we got to do. Again, just because I was over 40, they were treating me like, this is what it is. And yeah, so I waited on the 7th, on the morning of the 7th, and I had my C-section. She was born at 4 p.m. on the 10th of the 10th, 2021 via C-section.
How was going into the OR and that experience of a C-section?
Scary, because the hospital I was at, during my time, they were changing over a new technology system. So it was crazy because everybody was just acting like headless chickens. Everybody, the nurses were confused. Everybody was looking at so there was I, and they were there looking at the computers the nurses were like, is it bothering? I was like, yes, it is. Could you guys take that outside, please? Because I'm already dealing with this and then I understand you guys are learning. And they apologized profusely. But it was a new technology system. So apparently everything sort of shut down at that particular hospital at that time. And I was like, my husband was like, because he's a digital consultant, he was like, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. So it was I didn't like it. I felt like it better could have been done.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only were you all just, first of all, have me plugged up to all this stuff, like, with the drips and stuff, and I'm lying on in a bed with compression stockings, but also, the cafeteria is telling me that no patients can get any meals today because their technology system is down as well. So everybody's has to go out and get food. So my husband had to bring in Chick-fil-A from outside, and it was just so crazy to see, like, something is controlled by technology and everything shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
So there was the nurses learning the new system, and there was me trying to just remain calm because I know I'm supposed to have a baby, but I'm not dilating. And then they're telling me that, okay, my doctor, my friend, he came and spoke to me and he said, you know what? Nothing's happening. So we really think that let's just go for the C-section. I know you didn't want it, but let's go for it because it doesn't make sense having you here any longer for any more days because we're paying out of pocket. So that bill is going up. You know what I mean? So let's just, because they kept saying, it's insurance, not a problem. Like, no big deal. But I was like, even if it's insurance, this is, not right. But, so then he's like, you know what? You've been in here since Thursday. C-section is on Sunday, on the 10th. So then I was like, okay, the 10th of October adds up to the 20th. That's my aunt's birthday. So I could do that. We could do that. And then he said, so first thing on Sunday morning, he's going to come in. And then that didn't happen because, of course, there were women who were like, their blood pressures were going up, and I guess so they had to take them first. Now, mind you, all these women are younger than me. All these women are younger than me. I thought I was old. So then clearly it's not about age, right?
Right.
So then he was explaining to me, well, that's not how it works in, this department of the hospital. They have to go according to. I was like, yeah, because I wasn't supposed to be here. I was supposed to be here at 40 weeks, but you guys decided to take me in, and this is the problem because I was upset. And I was like, so we were supposed to go in at 6:00 in the morning to my C-section. We never went in until about 3, probably 3 into the room because there were so many other cases before me who will become an emergency. And and I understand. And you want everybody to have their babies. So I just had to wait. So I didn't eat anything that entire day because you can't eat. So
That's
you can
right.
imagine. I couldn't eat.
Yeah.
So I was there hungry. Well, I don't think I was hungry because I was just kind of like getting tired. So I had
Yeah.
nothing to eat for the entire. And then when I had the baby at 4 and I came back, I still couldn't eat because you can't eat after. So I was like, I'm gonna give this hospital a 0. I'm gonna give this hospital a 0. I'm like, I'm not happy. I'm not
Yeah.
happy. And because everything was so disorganized with the technology system and the patients, they were learning the new system. And there was I a patient, like I just felt like I was in the middle of all this.
Yeah. Well,
But
tell
then I
us.
wasn't worried because the doctor was a friend, so I wasn't
Yeah.
worried.
Yeah.
Well, let me give it to you. Before we went into the OR, when they were
Okay.
prepping me for the OR, the nurse, I don't know what they did, but they inserted the IV wrong. So my
Ooh.
husband looked at my hand and he saw my hand getting big and he was like, what's up? And then I looked down and then he was like, excuse me. And then he was like, they kind of like, oh, shucks, we inserted it wrong. And then they fixed it. And my husband was like, you know what? I can't get annoyed right now because we need to save this energy for. So then she was, I guess she realized she made an error and she was just trying to not own up for it. But anyway, but I took a picture of it because I was like, we need to have a picture of this in case something goes wrong. So they wheeled me in, they told me, they made me sign whatever form, tell you what it's going to be like, how it's going to feel. And the guy who was putting the needle who was going to put the epidural, he was really nice too.
Uh-huh.
I will never forget, it was an Asian guy and he was just trying to talk to me. Do you know your baby's name? He was just trying to relax me. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm just nervous. Let me just get in. And then he was like, your husband's going to be outside, but we're going to call him once everything is prepped and stuff like that. But he's going to come in, okay? So don't get scared. So they were wheeling me in with the bed, and I was just remember being wheeled on. And I was just so nervous. I started to get so nervous because I was like, oh, it's going to happen now, And then I remember my laparoscopy surgery. So I was like, oh, and I remember that experience going into the room. So then I was like, and then my husband was holding my hand. He was like, you're strong, be strong. Everything's going to be okay. She's going to be okay. So they wheeled me into the room. And then they told me, okay, so we're going to put it now into your back. You're just going to feel it quick. And then you're going to feel it. And then he was like, we're going to send someone to hold you, to hold my hands while I'm doing it. It's like a support. And I remember they sent somebody in and I held her as they were putting it into my back. And she's like, you could squeeze as hard as you want. And then when they opened it, and I was like, but I didn't really feel pain, strange enough. I didn't really feel any pain, but I was still squeezing her. And then she was like, oh, I thought you were going to squeeze hard. I was like, I'm okay. And then they was like, I think they were like, can you feel after? I was like, I know you're doing something, but I don't feel any pain. They were like, okay, you're ready. I was like, where's my husband? They were like, okay, we're going to bring in him right now. Okay. He's coming in. And then she's just started to talk. Do you know what you want to name your baby? And they just started to relax me. And I was like, just get me my husband. I don't want to talk. And I started to cry. They was like, okay, just come. I had my mask on because it was COVID time.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I'm just feeling like I can't breathe. They was like, okay, just calm down because I think I need to keep on the mask. That I can't. They was like, just calm down. Your husband's here. Hold his hand. And then he was just trying to wipe my tears. He's like, be calm, be calm. Everything's gonna be okay. And I felt the pressure. And then my friend was there, and the doctor, he was there, and he said everything's gonna be okay. And I remember he cracked a joke with my husband because from college days he cracked some joke that he had in college. And then he was like, everything's gonna be okay. And then he went and he put on his garments and then he was like, okay. And then he's like, Neesha, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then I just felt the pressure, like, when it cut, I guess, because it was C-section. And then I heard her cry. And then I was just like, but Jamie, honestly, I heard her cry, but there was no feeling from me. And I tell everybody this, people say when the baby, I was numb. I couldn't feel anything. I was happy my daughter's here, but honestly, that feeling that they talked about only came to me from the night. Because I had it fall from the night when I was holding. Then it started. Because after the baby came on and I guess they saw me back up and I went into the room, I was scratching. Like all over was just scratching. And I was like, why am I scratching? And I just kept scratching. And I was like, tell my husband I'm hot and I'm scratching. Like, what's going on? And then my husband said, he told me after, he was like, there was so much blood down there. But my husband, he just remained calm. He was like, girl, he was like, there was so much blood down there. I just tried to remain calm. I just tried to remain calm. And they took him over to cut the cord. They took my husband over. They let me see her. They didn't let me hold her yet. Took her over and she cried. And I saw, and she was covered with all the white film, from.
Yep.
And I remember just thinking, okay, she's here now. But what do I do? I'm supposed to feel the immense love and everything, but not all I feel right now is numb. That's all I feel. I don't feel like everybody say it's supposed to be the most. I'm numb, and my husband's holding her. Then they brought her over to me after they did what they had to do and name, and then they put her on my chest. And I looked at her, I was happy she was there, and I was happy that she was around. But I was like, I don't really feel anything yet. Is something wrong with me? Like, am I a bad mother? Because I don't really feel anything yet. And then my husband told me after he didn't feel anything yet, too. He was numb. So we were like, I was keeping it internally, but I was like, oh my God, am I going to be a good mother because I'm not feeling anything? I'm just feeling numb. And I'm trying to act like, like how everybody acts on TV.
Yeah.
That's how I'm trying to act. But that's not how I felt at the point in time. And I was worried because I was like, oh my God, is this because it's a donor baby? And it wasn't, but then I'm like, okay, just be calm. You're dealing with a lot of things. And from that day, my body was just never the same. It was just never the same. I just didn't, yes, I got slim and I snapped back slim, but my body has never been the same. It's just anxiety, so much anxiety. From that day, I never had anxiety before. But from that day, anxiety and control emotions. And I was like, because, a C-section, it hurts. Nobody tells you that. So I got up off the bed the day after and I was fine. But the next day I was like, what the heck happened? I can't move when I get up. It was hurting. And I called the nurse and she said, well, you just had a C-section. I said, but I was good yesterday. She was like, probably because the pain medication was still. I was like, I can't move. I was like, are you sure everything is okay? Could you check that? Could you check the scar, make sure it's okay? Because I don't feel okay. And from that day, I don't know, I just started to have heart palpitations, get nervous, because I'm like, now I have to take care of this human and you have to be well. You can't say you have a headache and lie down. You have to be well.
Yeah.
And my husband, we both just been like, we've been 15 years married with no kids. We're like, this is different now. We have to show up. We can't be like, oh, I'm not feeling well. Lie down. No binge watching anymore, no movie watching, like a whole day you sit and watching movies and enjoy. Because we were like, and something I'm going to tell you, I don't want to scare you, but I never found out about it until I had a baby. They call it the second night, like the second night the baby's into the world. The first night was fine, but the second night, she just started to cry, scream. And we were in the hospital, we were like, excuse me, like the nurses, they were like, oh, this is called the second night. If you Google it, you'll see it.
I've never heard of it.
I never heard of it either. When the baby realized, they're now into the world. So they're trying to adjust and she pooped like black, like her poop was black. And we were like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Nurse said, that's normal. But I was there in pain. She's crying. My husband, he's lack of sleep because he's sleeping on this sofa because he spent the whole time with me. He never left just to get food. And we're trying to take care of this precious little baby in our arms. I am weak, but I don't want to say anything because I got to be strong, right? I have to be strong. It's just the two of us there now, and we're the type of people we don't ask for help. So we don't want to tell any of our friends that, we need help. So we're just like, we can handle it. We can handle it. But I don't know how we got through it. Honestly, as I said, preparing for this podcast, I was like crying because I was like, I don't know how we got through it because it was hard. It was hard. And my body has changed ever since. It's changed because I guess because it hasn't had time to rest, because I'm trying to be the best mom that I could be and meet all her needs. It's about her.
Yeah.
It just has been about her from since she was born, because my background is in child development, because that's my degrees are in child development, and I know how important the early years are. So I've been very hard on myself to make sure that the early years are some of the best years that she can have. I think it has affected me because it's like everything I do, I'm always like, oh God, what is she going to think when she gets to 15? Like, how is this going to affect her?
Yeah.
And I know it's bad and I know I have to stop because it's not going to be good for me, but that has been my experience, that just trying to make sure that, she's so nurtured and so well cared for, and also feeling so guilty for feeling numb and not feeling that intense feeling that they talk about, that love that immediately when you see her, because it wasn't like that for me. I was just numb. That's all I felt. Numb and trying to deal, like, after they sent me home from the hospital on the 11th. No, I went home on the 12th. That's when they sent me home. I got discharged on the 12th of October.
That was quick.
I wanted to go. I said, I've been here since the 7th. I want to go. I'm tired. I'm just lying down on this bed. It's going up and down, up and down, up and down. It was really annoying me until I told my husband to pull out the plug for the bed because it just kept, going. I was like, what's this? I mean, and then she said, well, it has to be like that because as you're not up and moving, they want to make sure that nothing happens. And I was just like, when they sent me home on the 12th, on the 13th, I couldn't get above the bed, Jamie. I was so weak. But then I remember looking over the bassinet and seeing her eyes, and I was like, Neesha, it's no longer, but I don't feel good, so I'm not doing it today. This is about showing up whether you feel good or not. So it was hard to get above the bed because with the C-section, it's hard to lift and I remember just holding on and pushing up and going to the bathroom, and it's still a lot of blood.
Yep.
And then I had to lift to take a shower because, the tub, I had to lift my leg to get into the tub, and I was like, Lord, am I going to get better? What is going on here? I've never felt like this before. And then you just seeing the blood running as well. I'm like, Lord, please help me. I have a baby to take care of. And I don't want to throw it all on my husband because he's working and he's, come on, we need the money, right? We need the money. He has to work.
Yeah.
So just give me the strength. Just give me the strength to do what I have. And mind you, I'm not a religious person, but all of a sudden I just kept calling God's name every minute of the day because I was like, it's just one person taking me through this, and it's him.
Yeah.
Just let me get the shower, take the shower, come out, and just be there for my baby. Breastfeeding was very difficult for me. It was very, very difficult. I just think that
How long were you able to do that?
Just not long at all. Probably for a week, because the first appointment she went to a week after she was born, she didn't put on any weight. And the doctor was like, the doctor is like, I know you want to breastfeed, but she was like, she needs to go on formula. She's like, don't feel any weight. This is just how it is. She needs to, because she's underweight. She hasn't put on any weight.
Yeah.
And that made me feel worse. So my husband is like, I know this is what you want. He's like, but I'm going to Target and I'm getting this formula right now. He's like, she hasn't put on any weight and this is not good.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing he did that, because after that appointment and my husband went to Target to get that formula, when he came back with that formula and I came off the chair, the entire chair was drenched in blood. It was drenched in blood. And I thought I was going to die. I honestly thought I was going to die.
Did you have to go back to the hospital?
Well, I called them. I called my doctor, and he said, she's okay. He told me I was okay. He told me what it was. But he said if it continues, I can't come back. From his experience, he knows what it is and I will be fine. It's all going to come out, and after a couple of hours, I'll be fine. But I basically wrote my will right there. I said I was going to die because the way I felt, I was like, and I'm going to leave my husband alone to take care of my daughter, because I was cold sweating. I went to the shower and I just saw all this blood and I was like, I'm going to die. I guess my mother was right. Having a baby over 40 is dangerous. And I lay down on the chair and I was like, well, I'm going to die. That's what I felt. But then after it passed, like a couple of hours, I woke up totally feeling fine. Like the sweating was gone and I was fine.
What was it?
I guess it was the after, whatever it's called, that after, you bleed a lot after C-section.
Yeah.
So it was the after. Mine took a while to come. Apparently some women, when it comes, mine just took a while to come down.
Okay.
And it even after that, like I went to Target one day and I just felt like blood. I was like, what is happening? And I went to the bathroom and my entire pants was dirty. Just blood. It was all the after stuff coming down. I don't know what happened there, but I'm healthy. I'm alive today and everything is fine.
Yeah.
They did checks and my lining went back fine. So, well, man, my doctor was not worried. He said it was normal.
Oh,
So
good.
I don't know, but
Well, how was the rest of your recovery? How did it go?
the rest of the recovery was hard. I just never said anything because I knew I had a job to do, and that was to be a mom.
Yeah.
It was hard because anxiety kicked in. And then not being able to breastfeed made me feel really bad because it's something I wanted to do. And I couldn't do it. And she was taking her formula fine and she was putting on her weight. And yeah, so I felt like, I guess here I was never supposed to be a mom because I can't even breastfeed. So I was dealing with those demons and just dealing with just trying to be there for her and, be a good mom. So I was going through postpartum depression and I didn't even really know, because I just thought, and I think up to today, I'm still trying to kick it. But, now they want me to take anxiety meds, but I don't. So I just take CBD supplements and just try to remain as calm and just try to do meditations and stuff. I think eventually I'm going to have to go on it because at the end of the day, I know that I can't go on like this, but I enjoy motherhood. I love her. She's a joy. Is amazing. He's amazing. And I am just so happy. We can't imagine life without him. We can't imagine. We just sent her to daycare last month because I was taking care of her all the time. And I decided, it's time for her to go now. It's time for her to go off into the world. So it's been hard. So we now have rehoused ourselves during the day.
Yeah.
But before, for 2.5 years, she was with me all the time.
Oh, wow.
Every second of the time she was with me. And I would have had it no other way.
Yeah.
I would have had it no other way.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned you had your other embryos destroyed. Would you be comfortable sharing how you came to that decision?
Yeah. Well, they wrote me in January 2022 to ask me, what are we going to do? So I told them we're going to hold it for 1 more year because we were still thinking, is it possible for us to try again? Because we do want another one. But then in January 2023, they wrote me back. They said, because you're paying a storage fee. A year has passed. Do you want to hold them again? Or so my husband and I talked about it. He said, you sure? Are you sure you want to do it? I was like, yeah, this makes sense. My health. I have anxiety now. When I had her, I didn't have anxiety. To be pregnant with anxiety, and I'm 40 something. I was like, I'm thankful that I got my one miracle baby. Yes, we always dreamed that she would have a brother or sister, but I just feel like I don't want to play with God. I don't want to go and try again. I know how I feel. So took a couple of days, wrote them back and told them, you guys can destroy it.
Yeah.
You guys, we had the option to destroy or donate, but I said destroy. I said, just go ahead and destroy them. And after I hit send on that email, I was like, then I was like, be thankful for what you have. You had a successful pregnancy. Be thankful. Don't go playing like you have to achieve every single thing in life.
Yeah.
One and done. You're the one and done club. You had your baby at 45. No complications. Just move ahead. So now, sometimes I tell myself, God, especially now I look at her, I'm like, she really needs a brother or sister. And I'm like, stop it. Stop it. But we still have dream. My husband still wants to adopt. He still wants to adopt because we're looking at her and we're thinking, an only child, is it going to be hard for her being an only child?
What has been your biggest challenge being pregnant in your 40s?
My biggest challenge being pregnant in my 40s, it was just wondering how long am I going to be around for her because I'm over 40. And if we go according to how the world works, you see all these mean posts. So you're going to be 65 when your child is in college. You're not going to see your grandbabies. You see them on social media. So it still is my challenge.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I have anxiety. Because if I have a ache on my finger, I think I'm going to die all of a sudden. I never thought that way before. Before she was born, I thought I would be here until I'm 90 years old because I'm a wicked woman who needs to stay alive for the rest of my life. Now I don't think that. Now if I get a headache, I'm like, I'm in the test. I'm in emergency room running every test because I just want to rule out that I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
And they're like, ma'am, all your levels are fine. you're good. It's just anxiety.
Yeah.
But that's my greatest challenge. Other than that, nothing, because I have more patience than I would have had before. I have more knowledge than I would have had in my 20s and 30s. Financially, we're in a better place than we were in our 20s and 30s. We make wiser financial decisions now than we would have before.
Is there anything you'd recommend that would help prepare someone for pregnancy and birth over 40?
Yes. Positive thoughts. Positive thoughts, believing it's going to happen. I'm not even going to say proper diet, because people eat bad all the time and then they're pregnant. So I don't know how correct and accurate that information is,
Mm-hmm.
because people conceive and then, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, yeah. So to say that, I would say your mind.
And what advice would you give yourself when you're pregnant if you could go back?
The advice I would give myself is to don't have a vision of how things are going to go, and don't have a vision of a view of how people are going to act. It's your pregnancy, so you're happy. And every milestone is important to you. It may not seem that way for everybody else. Also, don't expect when the baby is born for everybody to show up as how you expect them to show, or how you would have showed up for someone.
That's good.
Right? Some people, their world doesn't stop because you had a baby. Their world does not stop. Your world stops because you have a baby. Sometimes there are people who you're going to have to ask for what you need. You're going to have to ask for the help. You're going to have to say, this is what I need. Because some people are incapable of doing that.
And your journey to motherhood was long. And we have a lot of listeners who are going through a long journey too. What do you say to those women?
I will tell them, believe it's going to happen. Hold strong. Surround yourself with the stories of the people who are over 50 and had a baby. Surround yourself with those stories.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to people. I'm not going to knock anybody, but don't listen to somebody who's 35 and can't get pregnant. Don't listen to that, because then it's going to make you feel like, oh my God, I'm 45. Listen to the older moms, the ones who listen to those.
Well, tell us where our listeners can connect with you on Instagram.
Instagram name is SassyNC00. So SASSY, N as in no, C as in cat, 00. That's my Instagram profile.
Perfect. I love your story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you so much.